Hi, so if you clicked on this video, I just want to say thank you. If you're not a subscriber, welcome. If you are a subscriber, welcome. Um, yeah, we're gonna dive right into what this video is about. It is about loneliness. Okay, so I'm gonna read an article that my friend sent to me. She's a teacher, so she deals a lot with children, education, social environments, communities. She's all about like outreach and giving back. And she, as a teacher, um, she's concerned about the state of the children's mind, and how they're developing mentally, because COVID, I don't like saying that word, but how we were in the house for basically almost 2 years, not able to do much. She can see how that really impacted the children, and I'm sure it not only impacted the children in a particular way, it also impacted us as adults as well. So we're all we all are, like, I would say, experiencing some residue from that. And I just want to go ahead and read this article because she shared it with me, and she thought it would be a great tie-in for when I updated everyone on my volunteer experiences. So before I get into the article, so I've been volunteering with this organization called Dress for Success. One of the reasons why I started to volunteer was, one, yes, to meet people, two, to give back, and then three, to kind of prevent myself from getting to that point where I feel as though I am lonely. It definitely helps, but at the same time, my major source of comfort is the Lord. Point blank, period. Okay? But definitely, if you have not reached the state where I am mentally, it will be very hard to cope with not having a community, not having a group, not having people that you have common interests with. And so, even now, a lot of, I would say, adults, children, teens, I think a lot of us are having trouble with how we interact with our environment. I feel like a lot of etiquette has been lost, and just, how you just interact with the outside. Because, kids are, I think we all got pretty used to interacting with people online, like in the comments, where you can kind of say whatever you want, whatever's on your mind, because no one knows where you live, no one knows where you are. They probably won't even know what you look like if you have like an avatar instead of your actual picture. So I think we kind of lost that like filter also of what to say, what not to say. And so unfortunately, that has ramifications, because if you can't interact with people when you are lonely and you realize, okay, I need to do something about this, you don't know how to you don't know how to interact with people, you don't know how to make friends, you don't know when something is appropriate or when something is not appropriate. Okay, so but anyway, the topic of discussion today is loneliness, but I think that's something that we have to remember. How are you going to fight loneliness, come up with a solution for that, if you're not able to make friends or keep them? Or you don't know what it means to be a friend, or you don't know what it means to have someone's back. So anyway, let's get right into the article before I keep rambling on. So the article she sent me, so basically the Surgeon General, he released an advisory. And so I'm just going to read 3 paragraphs, and then I'm going to link the article in the description. So if you're interested in reading it, go down into there and grab it. Okay. And then I'm also going to leave us with some scriptures. And I think if my notes are correct and I didn't erase it or delete it, I will probably mention a meme that I came across, or maybe I'll cut it out. Okay, so let me read the article. So The U.S. Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, released an advisory on loneliness and isolation on Tuesday and urged people and public officials to treat the matter with the same urgency as other serious conditions such as obesity or drug abuse as it continues to surge, affecting about half of the people in the U.S. That's a lot of people. The advisory cites polls from the 1970s in which 45% of Americans said they could reliably trust other Americans. That dropped to roughly 30% by 2016. Between 2003 and 2020, the time Americans spent alone increased by 24 hours a month, and time with friends in person decreased by 10 hours a month. Teenagers and adults reported being online almost constantly, but across all ages had fewer friends and in-person interactions. And he said social isolation can reach further, making people less civically engaged in their communities. So when you look at it that way, you start to realize that social connection is part of what fuels us, which is absolutely correct. What allows us to show up in our lives. So connection is part of what fuels us, what allows us to show up in our lives and in our communities as whole people. And that is 100% correct. We are social creatures. God created us to be that way. There's nothing wrong with going outside and meeting people and having friends. But I know, with this whole us being isolated in the house for, a few years, that definitely messed with all of us, and we have to combat that. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, before I get into that, I just want to talk about what I've noticed online and social media. There's been a glorification of doing things solo. Whether that be staying in your home, drinking a glass of rosé with your cat or your dog, and watching movies at home alone. People are preferring to do this rather than going outside. Or the opposite end of that is people are going clubbing and amusing themselves and just acting a fool. So I know a lot of the people that prefer to stay in the house, usually they don't want to deal with the chaos that is going on outside of the house. And then the other extreme will be people just gratifying themselves with all these vices, and yet they're still not properly interacting with other people in a real lasting way. Because when you're going outside at night clubbing and you're drinking, and that's not real life. That is not real life. Usually you're not even yourself. You're intoxicated. So you're a different version of you. And so you still don't really know how to communicate with other people because you're not comfortable with being yourself. And then you have people that are staying in the house. Not everybody. But let me remember the topic is loneliness. And so, yeah, you're out clubbing, but you're still lonely because you can't build a lasting relationship. And then if you're staying in the house, you're kind of losing that drive of community. Okay, so we got two opposite ends. And then, for example, you may have someone like me who, like, I went to church last Sunday, and there were barely any young people at church. It was mostly elderly people or people maybe like in their 40s, 50s, 60s, okay? How am I going to meet someone like myself? Young people, I remember when I was a teen, I was looking for volunteer opportunities. I was wanting to hang out with my friends, and I was wanting to meet people in those kinds of circles to, as a self-development tool, basically. And I think that's a great way because when you go out and meet people, you get exposed to all different kind of cultures, people, and you can kind of take this and that and develop as a person. You can decide, you know what, I don't want to be like this person, or I don't want to have this experience, so let me avoid behaving that way and let me be more like this person instead. And so you kind of have like a model and you can grow that way. So I feel like when people are staying indoors, especially young people, and especially nowadays with all this internet, they're not developing. They're not picking and choosing qualities from people that they aspire to be like, and instead they're watching YouTube videos and they're aspiring to be like men and women who are living completely fake lives and whose like personality no one really likes, no one really wants to be around in real life. So now you're emulating someone who's not real, someone who can be whoever they want to be on camera, who's totally completely fake usually most of the time. And also, yeah, they have a lot of money and they have all of this influence and they have all of these opportunities that can only really be applied to like their social circle, or it can only be showcased when they're behind the camera and it's not real. So now you go out, you're trying to emulate someone who has this life, and you go into the real world and you realize the scene doesn't really look like this out here. And so you can't really relate to anyone. No one is able to relate to anyone because no one is living a real life anymore. We're all living through our screens. And that is why we're all so lonely. Because we don't know how to interact with the real world, because everything we see online is not real. It's totally fake. It's a persona. It's not real. So how do we fight that? All right, so I have some points, and it's honestly right now it's so like it's easier said than done nowadays because no one wants to go outside. We all feel lazy. We don't want to get up. People go to the supermarket, they go to the deli in pajamas and flip-flops and Crocs. Fine, flip-flops in the summertime, whatever, but Crocs, and looking kind of comical, kind of like a clown, really, if I'm being honest. No one's showing up for life, okay? And then so you're home, you're watching Kim Kardashian and whatever, I'm name dropping, who cares, or anyone, because everyone pretty much looks the same. So when you're at home, you look normal, and then when you leave your house, you look like a completely different person. And who are you? But a clone of somebody else, okay? So I think some of the loneliness also comes from not knowing who we are. Sorry, the camera's there. We don't know who we are anymore, so we're lonely. We don't know what matters to us anymore, so we're lonely. What mattered to me as a child was giving back to my community, was whatever I thought my gifts were, which was like really giving and helping out. That's what I searched for. I tried to find opportunities where I can help people. I volunteered a lot as a child, as a teen, as a young adult. One of my first volunteer opportunities, I was cleaning parks, cleaning up trash. I wanted to help my community. I was being selfless, not selfish, right? So I think the loneliness comes from not knowing who we are, and then also not knowing how to find ourselves. Because, you know, when you do want to go out and figure out who you are, is getting harder and harder to find a community, because now we're all kind of in the same boat where we're all lost. We're all completely lost. I go to church trying to find people that may share the same interests as me, and they're not there. They're not at church. So, you know, like I said, I'm not lonely because I have the Holy Ghost, but when I'm trying to find my community, it's very hard. I don't want to only have a community online. I do want to meet people, you know? I want to have discussions. But where's everybody at, you know? Where are the kids in the parks? Where are they learning how to be people? How are they going to learn what's right from wrong when all you have is a screen in front of you? You're not acting out life. You don't have your parent, you know, because you're in front of a screen all day. Where are your chances to make errors and be corrected in life? Where are they? Okay, so now, you know, you go to school Everyone, has to be like this. You can't really do anything. If you have ADHD, they want to do this, they want to do that. You have to stay still. You can't express yourself. If you express yourself, everyone thinks you're crazy. You have to be like a little zombie. And so where are you learning? Where are you developing your character? No one has character nowadays. Because no one's being said, hey, what you're doing is not right. Okay, and so we're all going to be lonely because we're not learning how to be around other people. Okay, it makes me sad. It really does. I don't want to trigger YouTube, but I'm gonna say the BULLY word. Or BULLIES is in school. If that's happening to you, you realize, you know what? I don't want to be like that person. And if I see someone like that doing that to someone else, I'm gonna say something. And now you're building character, But now we can all do that online. We can all be a what. And who is there to say you're wrong? Okay? You don't have to care what anyone else says because no one's in your face putting the heat on you, making you feel like you have to change. So yeah, we're going to deal with a really chaotic world in the next, I will say 10, 20 years when all these kids become adults. And then we're going to see the repercussions of all this screen time. Because, no one's going to want to stay inside forever. They're going to want to get outside. And what are you going to do with a whole bunch of people that don't know how to act? All the good people are going to stay inside. Probably. Okay, so anyway, let's get back into it. So I had a meme, but I don't know if I'm going to show it. I'll just read to you what it said. It says, I want to show you the other meme. So this meme is about what loneliness is, right? And it says, loneliness is the longing of the soul for companionship. And I 100% agree with that. And I also think you can be lonely for yourself. And loneliness comes, I would say, also comes from an identity crisis. If you don't know who you are. So many issues going on with this loneliness and not interacting with the world. Anyway, I have some tips on how to combat loneliness. I think I have 6 tips. Okay, so the first one, if you are feeling lonely, go out and create a group for yourself. Now, hopefully, if you do know who you are, you know what you like, you have hobbies, you have interests. If you do, create a group and go out and meet people. Tell people about your group and create a community. You'll be creating a community for you and for yourself, okay? And you'll probably be creating demand because eventually people are gonna want to be a part of something, right? And then we have number 2, find some way to be a leader in your community and do not shy away from being a leader or doing things that you have never done before. Now, being a leader comes with a lot of responsibility. It comes with building character. It's a great responsibility and it's wonderful. If you will become this person that people can trust, if you're trustworthy and that they can lean on, and it will give you some kind of purpose to be a leader in your community. So definitely don't shy away from that opportunity. If it presents itself, or if you create the opportunity for yourself, go for it. Don't be afraid, but fight the fear and just do it anyway. Just fight through the fear. That's something that I'm learning. That's something that I'm applying to myself. It's just fighting the fear, just doing it anyway, because you don't know who you're going to impact. You have no idea who you will impact, so why not? And you're not hurting. Trust me, if you're doing anything from love and you're doing something because you genuinely want to help people, fight through the fear. Is worth it. Okay, it's definitely worth it because you will impact lives, and that's what we need. Okay, we need real people. And then this is more, localized. Invite a friend out for a coffee or walk. Okay, you don't need a million friends. You need one person that you can trust. That one person that you can trust, so you can tell all your, stuff to, all your, what's the word? can't think of the word right now, but that you can tell your problems to. That's all you need. You just you need one person. You don't need 10 people to know your business, the ins and outs of your life. You need one person that you can trust, who will not wallow with you in your stuff, but they will lift you out of it. Okay, that's a real friend. Okay, a real friend is not a gossiper. Is not someone that is going to feed into your negative feelings. They're going to pull you out. Okay, that's the kind of friend that you want. Oh, this one is great. And this one is what I'm trying to practice, this one. But I think it's easier if you live in a city. For me, I live like in a city, but it's not like New York City. So do your shopping at a local store and support local businesses. So, you know, if there's a coffee shop up the street, go to your coffee shop. Don't go to Starbucks. If you need like soap or milk, you know, don't use Uber Eats, or don't use like Amazon, what do you call it? Groceries, whatever. Like, go outside. Get to know the small business owners out there, build a relationship with them. And I love that. I love going to like a town and knowing that everyone knows each other, because I just think it's so intimate, and that is something that we're losing nowadays, sadly. But I love that charm of like knowing, you know, people in your neighborhood. I love it. Like I said, it's easy for me to meet people because it's just easy for me, and I love it. I'm very like open, even to everybody, even to people that I don't agree with. I still hear them. I listen to them. I'm not argumentative. If I see someone crossing a line and it's really like hitting a nerve with me, like it has to really like just be outrageous, then I will say something. But other than that, listen, I'll let people rock. I'll let them think what they need to think. If they ask me for my opinion, I'm gonna give it. But if someone is saying something that I don't agree with, I just let it go, because like really, unless it's a debate, it's like the topic is up for discussion, you know, then we can go back and forth. But everyone has a right to their own opinion. They have a right to think what they want to think. Whether it's wrong or right, that's up to God. Take it to the Bible, you know. But we have to allow people that space to have their opinions and then to grow. And then, you know, if there's room for discussion, we can discuss it. But otherwise, let people rock, you know. And then the last one. This list is just a very quick list, because I know I talk forever. We're at 22 minutes. Take action and find people that you can relate to. And it's just basically same as like point 1 and 2. Just go out and meet people. Say hello to your neighbors. Like, honestly, for me, enough social interaction for me would just be going to the park and just saying hi and just seeing people, seeing kids play, seeing, you know, men play basketball, or watching, you know, girls play around the rosy, you know, and just seeing people enjoy life. You know, try to start slow. If you're really like, oh my God, like how am I gonna meet people? Go to a park and just people watch, and then eventually, you know, someone might sit next to you and strike up a conversation with you, and bam, you made a new friend. That easy. I tell you, I met my best friend so organically, and she's my friend still, 10, 11 years into it, you know. I don't need nobody else. I really don't. And I have my sisters, and I have, you know, my family, and I have my extended family, you know, and that's all you need. And if you don't have a good family, like I said, don't make one. Like make a group, okay? Make a group and sift through, okay? And you find someone that you can mesh with. Okay, so anyway, let me in this video soon. So I'm gonna leave you guys with a scripture, okay? Because also you have to spiritually feed yourself. We can be spiritually lonely for God. And so I'm gonna read you book 2. I hope it's book 2. I put number 2. No, sorry, no. It's gonna be Isaiah chapter 58, verse 11. And I can't even look because my Bible is let me Google it real fast. Sorry, I think it's correct, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's correct. It's correct. Yes. All right, it's fine. Sorry. Okay. So it's Isaiah chapter 58, verse 11. And this is in regards to loneliness. The Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your soul in drought and strengthen your bones. You shall be like a watered garden and like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. So let me read that again. The Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your soul in drought and strengthen your bones. You shall be like a watered garden and like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. Okay? So God is always with you. When you need something, he will satisfy you. He will give it to you, but you have to have that relationship with him. You have to build that foundation, okay? And I didn't mention it in the previous video when I was talking about like salvation, but it's very important to mention that you have to really be repentant and be serious about it, okay? Because you can, if you say, oh yeah, I accept God into my life, but you're not repentant and you kind of go back to your old ways, you're setting yourself up for trouble, and you're setting yourself up for failure, and you're setting yourself up for some tragedies, okay? I'll just leave it at that. But you got to be serious. You got to be real, okay? We don't deal with lukewarm, all right? You got to be hot on fire. You can't be a cold Christian, okay? And you have to have joy, all right? And God will bring you that joy, and he'll bring you that family. He'll bring you that community. He'll bring you everything that you need. It may not be at exactly the moment that you want it, but he will take care of you, okay? So I'm going to end the video, and I have additional scriptures in the description if you want to take a look at that. And until next time, I love you. Bye.